Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary if you're new here, and today I wanted to do something a little fun and do the end of year book tag. And I believe it was Ariel who created this book tag years ago, so I will link her channel and the questions down below. But there's 6 questions total, so without further ado, let's just answer these questions and talk about it. So the first question is, do you have any books that you have started this year that you want to finish by the end of the year or before 2024? And I mean, I've started many different books, but there are 3 that I have that have come to mind that I have started and do want to finish by the end of the year. So the first book we have is Stephen King's The Shining. So this book is a part of my 23 in 2023. I also really was looking forward to reading my first Stephen King this year, and I started reading this in October, but honestly, I do a lot of my reading before bed, and this book was kind of giving me the heebie-jeebies, and I was having bad dreams, so I stopped reading it. And also, I'm about 135 pages in, and I wouldn't say it's boring, but it's not super exciting as well, so I just put it down. But I really want to get to this and just finish it, so I think I'm going to see if listening to the audiobook will be better. Not very far into the book, but I definitely want to finish it by the end of the year. The next book I have, I don't remember what month this was in for the House of Nostalgia book club on Fable. I am a pretty good chunk of the way through this book. I would say maybe almost 2/3 of the way, and I don't know, I just put it down. I'm not very into this book. I think the main character, Clary, is very annoying, but I do just want to finish it and see if I want to continue this series. I was so excited to start the series because I wanted to read this badly when it first came out, and I just didn't have the access to the books, and so I wanted to read it now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not enjoying it as much as I thought I would, but I'm not hating it either. Very mixed bag. So hopefully we can finish this by the end of the year. And then last but not least, I've got this chunky monster that I was supposed to finish in January, and that is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. So like, I even have like the markers of how many pages a day I wanted to read. I am 270 pages, if this is correct, into this book, and I was enjoying it a lot when I was reading it, but it took so much time, and I was trying to read other books at the same time, and I am just determined to finish this by the end of the year. I've got 2 months left. I think that's more than enough time to read a little bit every single day. I need to figure out a way for me to finish this and something that will work. I cannot allow myself to have started 2023 reading this book and to not finish it by 2024. I do not want to bring this into 2024 with me. I want a clean, fresh slate in the new year, so we are going to read this by the end of the year. The next question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition to the end of the year? And like, this is the question I was a little stumped on because I'm so much into a wintry mood now. It's November, we're at the last leg of the year, and I'm not feeling those autumn vibes anymore, even though it's very much autumn still. I'm just in that wintry mood. So I have 3 books that I selected that kind of give off fall but also wintry vibes that I want to read. So the first one is Legends and Lattes. I think just the name brings me kind of like that cozy vibe that's like under a blanket, warm cup of coffee. And I think this is a very autumn read, but I've been meaning to read this all year. I don't know why, like what's stopping me from reading it, but yeah. I think this is one of those books. The next book I have here is Northanger Abbey. This is a part of the Game of Thrones book club, and I am behind on the book club, but I think, caught up to the month what we're supposed to read this in, and it's such a short read, and this is, I believe, a gothic novel. Yeah, it is a gothic novel, so that is kind of like autumnal and wintry vibe. Looking forward to this one. And then last but not least, I want to pick up another Frederick Bachman book. I'm not ready yet to read The Winners, which is the last book in the Beartown series, but I do have a bunch of his other books and his novellas. So I'm thinking either I'm going to pick up The Deal of the Lifetime, that has 3 short stories or novellas, or Britt Marie was here. Bachman is just like, he gives me such wintry vibes, probably because of Beartown series, and I know in A Man Called Uwe it's primarily, I believe, set in the winter time, so I don't know, I get those like wintry vibes from his books. So I don't know if these are going to be very wintry, but I feel like I read a lot of him in the colder months because it's just like comforting to me. The next question is there a new release that you are still waiting for? And so there's 2 of these that I have that are coming in the next 2 months. I believe next week is Mitch Albom's new book called, I believe it's The Little Liar or A Little Liar. I'll put a picture of the book around here somewhere. I love Mitch Albom. He's kind of like an auto-buy author for me, so I'm really looking forward to reading his new book. I think his last book came out 2 years ago, Finding Chica, or was it the sailboat one? Anyways, I read his 2 last new releases, and I actually haven't finished his backlog of books. I think I have around 2 to 3 that I haven't read that I really need to get to, but I am so pumped. I have it on pre-order, so I will be getting it next week. And then the second one is Rebecca Ross's, I believe, the second book in the Divine Rivals series, which is Ruthless Vows, and that comes out in December, which I am so pumped for. The next question is, what are 3 books that you want to read by the end of the year? And I have so many, but the 3 that kind of came to mind right away. The first one is Game of Thrones. So this is also a part of my 23 and 2023. I've been saving it for December, so I'm going to start it in December. But I have been wanting to read this book for like a decade now, and I've tried many times getting into the book. I've always lasted a couple chapters and then put it down, but I am determined to pick it up. And I did watch the first season of Game of Thrones, but I watched it when it came out, so I really don't remember much about it. And I kind of have the motivation to, because one of my best friends is reading it right now, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe you didn't wait for me to read it with you. So I'm so excited for that. And I actually just bought her the whole box set of the Game of Thrones books, so if we finish Game of Thrones at the same time together, maybe we can continue the series. I'm hoping for that. The next book is honestly any book from the Throne of Glass series, which I have over here, but I'm assuming The Assassin's Blade, because that is the book I want to start reading the series with. If you guys have watched my past TBR videos, I've put The Assassin's Blade on it, I think, 2 or 3 times, and I don't know, like there's just like this hesitation to start the series because it is a long series and these books get very thick, and from everyone I know that has read this series or is currently reading it, like they can't stop reading the books back to back, and it's just such a commitment. But I do own, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, I own 5 of the 8 books that are in the series, so I feel prepared to be able to read them back to back. Definitely want to pick up one of those books by the end of the year. And then, I mean, I have so many, but there is one that I want to read by the end of the year, and that is Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. Sorry for the ugly sticker that I poorly tried removing. This is Tessa Bailey's new Christmas book this year, and I'm just so excited to get into this, but I'm waiting for December to pick it up and read it. So this is on my end of year TBR. I'm just so excited, and I don't think I'm gonna have any struggle finishing this by the end of the year. So the next question is there any book that you think that could shock you and become your favorite book of the year? And honestly, I'm not sure. I don't even know what my favorite book of the year is. I have some that pop up to mind, but I do want to reflect back on the full year and pick a favorite by the end of December. But a couple books that I have on my TBR right now, or I'm currently reading, I do think might become a new favorite. I just don't know if it's going to be the favorite of the year. So that definitely includes War and Peace. I don't think I need any explanation for this. It's War and Peace. But that totally depends on if I finish it, and I don't know if I'm going to love it as much as I loved The Brothers Karamazov this year, because that's definitely in like my top 3 for the year. So we'll see about that. The next one I have here is Braiding Sweetgrass, and every one of my friends that has read this book and several people online, this has been their favorite book of the year after they read it. I've seen it on people's favorite books of the year for the past 2 years, and I really want to get to this by the end of the year. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to because I have so many nonfiction books that I am so excited to read, but if I do get to this, I do think it's going to be a top contender for my favorite book of the year. And then lastly, I have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. So I haven't read any sci-fi this year, and that is on my book bingo, so I really need to get to at least one sci-fi by the end of the year. And I've seen so many raving reviews about Red Rising. I don't know if it's going to become like the favorite, but I do think it will be a favorite just based on other people's ratings, especially with people that have similar book ratings as I do. So we'll see if I also get to this one. And the last question of the book tag is, have you started making plans for the next year? And I would say I have and I haven't. I've started to think about my 24 and 2024, so I have some contenders that I want to put in that list, but I also want to change it up because a few books that I put in my 23 and 2023, I'm kind of not interested in them anymore. So I want to make sure it's kind of like a foolproof list. And I also think next year I want to do a slower reading year. As much as I love reading so many different books, I find I enjoy slow reading much more when I really get to immerse myself in the books and force myself to reread passages and to annotate slowly. I just find the reading experience is much more enjoyable and fulfilling, and I want to see if I can slow my pace down next year and soak in the books more, but we'll see. It's hard, but I'm hoping to do that next year as well. But other than that, I also don't want to make too many crazy plans and allow myself to just go with the flow and not be so stuck in certain boundaries or boxes that I put myself in. So a mixed bag answer, but TLDR, yes and no. I've started and also haven't really thought about my reading plans next year. So that was the last question of this book tag. Let me know your answers to any of these questions down below, especially about your reading plans for next year, because I'm really interested to see how people organize their reading, or if it's just all for fun and you guys don't think about like a number of how many books you want to read or certain books you want to read, or if you're very strict to certain TBRs. I'm so fascinated by how different all us readers are. So please let me know your answers down below, and I hope you all have a fantastic last 2 months of reading. I'm sure we will all talk about all of our books in future videos. My next video I'm hoping to put out very, very soon, and it is a reading vlog of A Curse for True Love and Iron Flame. Iron Flame is just taking a little bit longer than I thought it would because it's a hunk of a book, but I'm excited to share our thoughts of those 2 books in my next video. So thank you for spending some time with me today. Hope you have a fantastic week ahead, and I will see you all in my next video. Happy reading! Bye!